What's going on today, YouTube? Rob here. In today's video, we have the second deck in our Legendary Heroes deck box. This is the pure Destiny Hero build. This deck is actually pretty neat, and it kind of gives a good pathway to being able to build heroes in general, but also just if you wanted to take it to a pure Destiny Hero build, this is a pretty good starting point. Before we get started, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more fun Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Also, consider leaving a like and turning on the notification bell to get notified whenever I upload new videos. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. Alright guys, let's get into this pure Destiny Hero deck build from our Legendary Hero decks box. Starting off, we have double copies of Destiny Hero Malicious. This card lets you banish this card from your graveyard and special summon another copy of it from your deck. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Disc Commander, who cannot be special summoned from the graveyard the turn that this card was sent to the graveyard. And if this card is special summoned from your graveyard, you can draw 2 cards. You can only use the effect of Disc Commander once per duel. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Dogma. This card cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by attributing 3 monsters, including at least 1 Destiny Hero monster. Once per turn, if you still control this card face up during your opponent's next standby phase after you special summon it this way, you have your opponent's life points. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Plasma. This card cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by attributing 3 monsters. Negate the effects of face-up monsters while your opponent controls them, and once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, equip that target to this card, maximum 1, and this card gains attack equal to half that original attack of the monster equipped to it by this effect. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Dreadmaster. If this card is special summoned by Clock Tower Prison, destroy all monsters you control except Destiny Hero monsters, and also, after that, you can special summon up to 2 Destiny Hero monsters from your graveyard. After this card is special summoned, for the rest of the turn, Destiny Hero monsters you control cannot be destroyed, and also, you take no battle damage when they battle. The attack and defense of this card are equal to the combined total original attack of all other Destiny Hero monsters you control. Next up, we have Elemental Hero Destiny Hero Celestial. So when this card declares an attack, you can target 1 face-up spell your opponent controls and destroy it. And if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. While you have no cards in your hand except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card and 1 Destiny monster or Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard and draw 2 cards. You can only use this effect of Destiny Hero Celestial once per turn. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Diamond Dude. Once per turn, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is a normal spell, send it to the graveyard. Otherwise, place it on the bottom of your deck. During the main phase of your next turn, you can activate the effect of that spell in your graveyard, even if you no longer control this face-up card. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Dread Servant. If this card is normal summoned, place 1 clock counter on it, or on each Clock Tower Prison. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 spell or trap you control and destroy that target. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Dark Angel. If you have 3 or more Destiny Hero monsters in your graveyard, you can discard this card, then target 1 Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard and special summon it to your opponent's field in defense position. When a spell card or effect you activate resolves, negate that effect, and if you do, or if it did not have an effect, destroy that card. And during your standby phase, you can banish this card and one Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard, and each player chooses one normal spell from their deck and places it on top of their deck. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Dynatag. During damage calculation, when you would take battle damage, quick effect, you can discard this card, make yourself take no battle damage from that battle, and if you do, each player takes 1000 damage. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Destiny Hero monster you control, and it gains 1000 attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Next up, we have double copies of Destiny Hero Drilldark. So if this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon one Destiny Hero monster from your hand with attack less than or equal to this card's attack on the field. You can only use this effect of Drilldark once per turn, and if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Decider. Level 6 or higher monsters that your opponent controls cannot target this card for attacks. You can only use each of the following effects of Destiny Hero Decider once per duel. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one hero monster from your graveyard to your hand during the end phase of this turn. Or, when a card or effect is activated that would inflict damage to you while this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, return this card to your hand, and if you do, make that effect damage to you 0. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Dreamer. During damage calculation, if your Destiny Hero monster battles and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, and if you do, your monster cannot be destroyed by that battle. Also, you take no battle damage from that battle. If summoned this way, banish this card when it leaves the field, and you can only use this effect of Destiny Hero Dreamer once per turn. Next up, we have triple copies of D Cubed. So if this card is normal summoned, it is also treated as a Destiny Hero monster while face up on the field. You can only use each of the following effects of D Cubed once per turn. You can discard up to 2 cards and special summon D Cubed from your hand, deck, and or graveyard equal to the number of discarded cards. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot normal or special summon monsters except Destiny Hero monsters. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one Destiny Hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. Next up, we have Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. If this card is special summoned, you can add one change quick play spell from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one hero monster from your deck to your hand, except Shadow Mist, and you can only use one Elemental Hero Shadow Mist effect per turn, and only once that turn. And lastly, for our monsters, we have Elemental Hero Blazeman. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Polymerization from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except fusion monsters. Also send one Elemental Hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Blazeman, and if you do, this card's attribute and attack and defense become the same as that monster sent to the graveyard until the end of this turn. You can only use one Elemental Hero Blazeman effect per turn and only once that turn. That's it for monsters. Now on to our spells. Starting things off, we have Destiny Draw. This lets you discard one Destiny Hero card and draw 2 cards. Next up, we have double copies of Over Destiny. This lets you target one Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard and special summon one Destiny Hero monster from your deck whose level is less than or equal to half of that target's level, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn. Next up, we have Clock Tower Prison. Once per turn, during your opponent's standby phase, place one clock counter on this card. While there are 4 or more clock counters on this card, you do not take battle damage, and if this card with 4 or more clock counters is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special summon one Destiny Hero Dreadmaster from your hand or deck. Next up, we have Dark City. When a Destiny Hero monster attacks, if its attack is lower than the attack of the attack target, the attacking monster gains 1000 attack during damage calculation only. Next up, we have double copies of Mask Change. This lets you target one hero monster you control and send it to the graveyard. Also, after that, if it left the field by this effect, special summon one masked hero from your extra deck with the same attribute that was sent with the monster on the field. And if it's face down, it's its own original attribute. Next up, we have double copies of Polymerization, which lets you fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using cards from hand or field as fusion material. Next up, we have Monster Reborn, which lets you target a monster in either player's graveyard and special summon it. Then we have Magical Stone Excavation, which lets you discard 2 cards, then target one spell in your graveyard and add that card to your hand. And then we have double copies of Terraforming, which lets you search your deck for a field spell and add that card to your hand. And lastly, for our spells, we have a Feather of the Phoenix. This lets you discard 1 card, then target 1 card in your graveyard, and return that target to the top of your deck. Moving on to our traps, we have 1 copy of Destiny Signal. When a monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon 1 level 4 or lower Destiny Hero monster from your hand or deck. Next up, we have D-Time. So when a face-up elemental hero monster you control leaves the field, add 1 Destiny Hero monster from your deck to your hand, whose level is less than or equal to that elemental hero monster's original level. Next up, we have double copies of Eternal Dread, which lets you place 2 clock counters on each Clock Tower Prison. Lastly, for our main deck, we have the trap D-Fusion. This lets you fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion material, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. Only Destiny Hero monsters can be used as fusion material for a fusion summon using this card's effect. That's it for our main deck. Let's move on to our extra deck, which contains a lot of different fusion cards. Starting things off with Masked Hero Anki. This must be special summoned by Mask Change. This card can attack directly, but when it does so using this effect, the battle damage inflicted to your opponent is halved. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can add 1 change quick play spell from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Masked Hero Anki once per turn. Next up, we have Masked Hero Darklaw. This card, again, must be special summoned with Mask Change. Any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. And once per turn, if your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to their hand, except during the draw phase or the damage step, you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. Next up, we have our first Destiny Hero Fusion, and that is Destiny Hero Dangerous. This card requires 1 Destiny Hero monster and 1 Dark Effect monster. Quick effect, you can discard one card and send one Destiny Hero monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And if you do, Destiny Hero monsters you control gain 200 attack for each Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Destiny Hero Dangerous once per turn. Next up, for our Destiny Hero Fusions, we have double copies of Destiny Hero Dystopia. This requires 2 Destiny Hero monsters, and if this card is special summoned, you can target one level 4 or lower Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that target's attack. If this card's current attack is different from its original attack, except during the damage step, quick effect, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. And if you do, this card's attack becomes equal to this card's original attack. You can only use each of the effects of Destiny Hero Dystopia once per turn. Moving on to some more fusions, we have double copies of Destiny Hero Dusktopia, which requires one Destiny Hero Fusion monster and one Destiny Hero monster. If this card is fusion summoned, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target one monster on the field and make it unable to be destroyed by battle or card effects, and if you do, neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving that monster. These effects last until the end of this turn. Lastly, for our fusions, we have Destiny End Dragon, which requires Destiny Hero Plasma and Destiny Hero Dogma. A fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials, and once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy that target, and if it is face up, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack it had while on the field. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect, and once per turn during your standby phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one Destiny Hero card from your graveyard and special summon this card. That's it for our fusions. Let's move on to the rest of our extra deck, which is 2 Link monsters, Extra Hero Dread Decimator and Extra Hero Wonder Driver. Dread Decimator's effect reads as follows: 2+ hero monsters, and this card, also any hero monsters that it points to, gain 100 attack for each hero monster with a different name in your graveyard. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. And Extra Hero Wonder Driver requires 2 hero monsters, and if a hero monster is normal summoned or special summoned to your zone that this card points to, target one polymerization spell card, one fusion spell card, or one change quick play spell card from your graveyard and set that target. You can only activate this effect of Extra Hero Wonder Driver once per turn, and if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this card is in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon one hero monster from your hand. And that's rounding off our extra deck and this Destiny Hero deck profile. Alright guys, that's it for this pure Destiny Hero deck profile from the Legendary Hero decks. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and consider commenting on what you might want to see in the future. Also, if you're not already, consider subscribing for more fun Yu-Gi-Oh videos, as well as leaving a like and turning on that notification bell to be notified whenever I upload new videos. As always, I will see you in the next one. That's game.